Yeah. Yeah, I think it is a problem with the cam because when it first powered on, it was a little darker. It was completely overexposed. But let that commercial finish, make sure it's all done. We'll review that. And there it is. Okay. All right, so anybody watching this on YouTube or our past broadcasts, I am Dagenham, and I want to first apologize for missing two potential streams, one on Saturday and one on Monday. I was just, to be honest, exhausted. I just couldn't manage it. I'm sorry. I really am. I wish I could have done them, but I needed the days off, and thank you for understanding, I hope, and thank you for joining this time, and thank you for watching. So, let's review the whole thing that we've done so far to make sure that we can get back in the right mindset. We have HelperBot, which is HelperBot main, which is what actually runs the bot. The moment the bot isn't running, it's commented out. And then we have HelperBot, which is the actual class for the bot. Then we have these two tests over here that were for reading and writing files, which we're going to need for both settings and for keeping track of users. Also, I'm sorry if I'm really washed out. I certainly look washed out to me. Feel like I'm 3 shades of whiter than I actually am. Definitely not as pink as usual. Anyway, so we have everything set up so that the bot can be instantiated, which is here, and then we have this function here which can get the settings. We haven't passed the settings to the bot yet, which is one of the next things we're going to work on, but today what I kind of wanted to focus on was getting the data structure in place, or at least beginning to get the data structure in place, to keep track of users. Now, we have to keep track of users in 2 ways. One is we have to have a file that will store them, and 2, but we have to keep track of them actively so that every time a minute passes when the bot checks viewership, it will allow us to increment all of their points, whatever those end up being called. So, get rid of that. So let's discuss that real quick. The most basic way of doing that would be to use an array. And I'm going to use Notepad to demonstrate what I'm thinking so that we can step through it a little bit. If we have an array, it would be, I'm going to use X and Y. We would have an array that has 2 dimensions. The first dimension would represent how many users are currently in the channel. The second dimension would be the number of attributes we wanted to track for each user. I'll demonstrate. Let's say we have a room with just 1 person. The 3 basic things at least we'd like to track. Here's the first one. It's going to be the name, and that's going to be me. Now, not my Twitch name, it's Dagenham Lol, but let's just use this for now. So, let's copy that. The second thing we would want to track is how many points I have. I've only been watching this stream for a minute, so I have 1 point. And then how many tickets I've bought in the event that there's a raffle, which, let's say there's no raffle, so that's going to be 0. Oops. Let's do that. So those are the 3 basic pieces of information we need to track for every user. Now, Arrays are great. They are. They allow you to track a ton of information in one variable. It allows you to make a sort of table, like an Excel spreadsheet inside of your program that you can reference in all sorts of ways. And let's actually, just to kind of demonstrate how this would look, let's make another one for Cigna. And let's just say that she's got, well, let's do 8 points. She's got 8 points. And she has 2 of them tied up in a raffle. There we go. Just to kind of demonstrate. Oh, I don't need to save that. Oh, and then she would actually be the second person in the channel. So, arrays are great because they allow you to store information. The problems with arrays, that I have at least, are twofold. Lots of 2s. We have this 1, 2, and 3. Here, here, and here. You have to know what those indexes are. You have to know that index 1 is going to be the name, index 2 is going to be the points, and index 3 is going to be the number of tickets. If you don't know for a fact that those 3 pieces of information are stored in those 3 numbers, which you'll have in the program, but if you don't know that, then you're going to be having to look it up every time, instead of having it be a name, like, well, which brings me to my next point. Instead of an array of strings like this, we could do an array of Twitch viewers. Which again, I'm just going to put X and Y, just because this is for demonstration. Oh, wait, actually, in this instance, I would not need the Y. I would only need the X. So, instead, I'm going to copy these and then correct them. Instead of these looking like this would be dot name, this could be dot points, and this could be dot tickets. And just for completion's sake, name, points, and tickets. Now, the benefits here are that you know every time you look at the variable as it's being used, what's in those variables. Big benefit. Now, the issue with this method is my preference to this method. However, the issue here is that when I want to add a person to an array, I have to create a new array. So here, let's do current array, which is, let's say it's size 2. I have to do a new array, make it size 3 because a new person joined, and then I have to set the new array equal to the old array. I named these wrong. Let me fix this real quick. Equal to the old array. That would copy all of the old array into the new array. Make sure that we maintain everything. And then the other weird part is that I would have to set old array now equal to new array. That would copy everything back into the original variable. So you have to take this extra step. It might be a little confusing. I do apologize if that is. But basically, you have to take the information that you have, put it into a new version that has the correct size, and then copy everything back into the original variable to make sure that you don't lose the data, A, because you don't want to reset your viewers every time someone new joins, and B, it's an extra step, and it's not as good on memory. So, let's talk about vectors. Vectors are similar to arrays, but the benefit to them is that they grow and shrink as needed. If I want, I don't actually have a demonstration because I haven't fully played with them yet, so I don't want to muck around with them too much. Close that out. So vectors do everything an array does, except it does it dynamically. So I don't have to worry about the fact that my current array only holds 5 people and 6 more have joined, Or in the case of bigger streamers, let's say they have 100 people in there and it goes up to 1,000. Depending on how it's written, it might resize that array a whole ton of times, and you don't want that. You want it to do it once. And the benefit of the vector is that every time you need an extra person in it, you just call that add, and it keeps adding and adding and adding and adding. Now, the potential problem, which is mostly because I'm not as familiar with the language at this point, which is why we're doing this in the first place, is that I don't totally know how to use it, how to force the vector to find the new class that I'm going to write, which is the class that we're going to write tonight. But again, we're going to work on that. It's got to be doable. Let's do a new class. Let's call it a Twitch viewer. Put this down here. Make it nice and easy to click on. Let's just scrap that for now. You can always add that back in. Okay, we're gonna do. We don't. I'm gonna leave that at the moment, but let's do some private variables. String. Let's call it viewer name. Let's make sure all of these are as informative as possible with their variable names. Private. Oops. Let's make sure we spell private right too. I believe double is like that. Points. Oh, let me add in viewer there. Viewer points. Private. And I'll explain why these are double in a second. Or why that's double, and this is going to be an integer. Tickets. Let's stick to this. Viewer tickets. Okay. Viewer name has to be a string because you have to be able to store special characters and all sorts of different characters that someone might be using. Tickets has to be an integer because you want that to be a whole number. You don't want someone to buy 2.5 tickets. That's just weird. Viewer points, however, in the bot that I'm writing should be a double. The reasoning for that is that I'm allowing people to add fractional points so that they can they can do, you know, only part of a point per minute. You're not forced to do 1 point per minute or 2 points per minute. If you want to do 1 point every 10 minutes, you could do 0.1, and then every time that minute flips over, it increments everyone by 0.1 and gets you closer to the full point, at which point you've got the whole point. And it would display 0 points until then. But it needs to be tracked on the decimal value. So if you want to do 1 point for 10 minutes, and you watch for 5 minutes, you have 0.5 points. It needs to be able to track that. And it can't do that if that's an integer. So that's the long version of why I did that, but it's important to know. Okay. So, oops, that's got to be capital. And then I think that's got to be capital too. TMP in this case I'm just using for temporary. And integer tickets, although I don't think that's ever going to be necessary, but it's still good to keep track of. All right, let's get rid of this. Well, let's get rid of this at least. We can keep that there. And we're going to set viewer name equal to temp name. I'm going to set viewer points equal to temp points. And oops, if we can spell viewer, we're going to do that. And there we go. Viewer fixed. Viewer tickets equal to temp tickets. Also, I realized as I was typing that out, it's going to be good to keep track of the number of tickets in case this crashes. We want to try and make it so we can dump all of the information to a file in the event of a crash so that when it reloads, hopefully we can maintain the state, save the tickets. Okay. Hi, Legacy Lemons. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining. Okay, so these are the three main variables that we're going to need in order to run this class. I think those are the three main pieces of information. We might come across some others, in which case we can add them. Not a big deal. And I'm going to get rid of this because these are... I'm going to leave that one because it's important to recognize what the constructor is. So let's do get name. And this is going to be a string type. Let's do all our get functions. So there's get name, and then we're going to do get points, do get tickets. Oh, apparently I remind Legacy Lemons of his grandfather. I hope a younger version of your grandfather, because you're not that. I'm not that old, and you're not that young. Oh, whoops. Gotta keep track of your curly braces. Like, I just put these two functions outside of this main curly brace. And this is why you tab things in. See, this is nice and colored. So I got that nice green hue to it. Because this is all one section. And I pasted these two outside of that. Okay. This is just going to return viewer name. Right? Yeah, your name. This is a double. Going to return viewer points. Viewer points. And this is going to, oh, this is an int, or rather an integer in this case. And it's going to return viewer tickets. I mean, Lemons, you can always watch some of the old videos. I've walked through how to do basic programs. I think I lost, actually, my Hello World app. I should probably do that again at some point. Programming is not as hard as a lot of people would have you believe. The problem is, of course, just getting your foot in the door with it. And once you can do that, it opens up a lot of opportunities and a lot of possibilities in terms of what you can actually make. None of what I'm doing here is really high-level Java. It's basic applications of simple things, and it's just, once you do that enough times, you end up with a complicated program. So, and actually you and I think GameFox are the main reason I decided to finally do this, because with people asking how to program, I figured I could show it off a little bit and show people that it's not as scary and not as difficult as it really sounds like. The apps I'm using BlueJ, which is on, I think it's bluej.org. Let me verify that. BlueJ, yep, bluej.org. That is the IDE I'm using the IDE BlueJ. And Java is free. It's provided by Sun, I think. Sun owns it. Or is it Oracle? It's one of the two. It's all free. Everything I'm doing is free. I have no paid programs on this, not yet at least. Even the library I'm using to run the bot is free. So if you want to try it out, this is all available, and you can do so. It's really, I didn't completely set it up to be like that, but it ended up turning out like that, and I do kind of like that it's like that, because it really, if anybody's interested in trying it out, it's all available. You just have to find it, which I'm more than happy to provide the links for. Okay. So these are our three main functions, and this is to allow us to get the information we need. Now, we need a couple of other functions. We need a public, let's do add points. Oops. And public, do subtract or remove points. Subtract points, remove points, take points. Reduce points. let's just do subtract. Let's keep it simple. All right. Oh, whoops. These are going to be void because they aren't going to add any. They aren't going to return anything. When you have a function that returns, like this does, return something, it has to be a type equal to what's being returned. Let's get rid of some of these comments too. There we go. All right, so add points is going to take in a double. Let's call it new points. And it's going to set viewer points. If I can type, I can't seem to today. Equal to viewer points plus new points. All right, so this will be useful so that when the bot detects that you've been there for a minute, it can come in and add that point or add that third of a point or tenth of a point, whatever it needs to. I might need to sneeze in a second. Okay, so that's... Oh, man. Okay, so that's add points. So subtract points is going to be the opposite. And theoretically, we could do everything with add points. Instead of passing it 3 points, for example, I could pass it -3 points, and that would subtract it. But again, let's keep it simple. And just make two functions here. And that's just going to look like that. Now, actually, let's add some checks in place, because it's good to make sure that that we don't make someone have negative points, because that might raise issues in other ways. So, if viewer points, which I spelled wrong up here, is less than 0. Some nice curly braces. Where's my tab? There it is. All right. If viewer points goes beneath 0, we're just going to set it equal to 0. Probably need a similar check here. I'm not going to bother with that just yet, where if viewer points gets higher than the maximum, that it stays at the maximum. Integers do cap out, or doubles, I'm sorry, doubles do cap out at a point, but I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. Oh, I misspelled this again. I am having a rough day with typing. Okay, so add points, subtract points. Public void. Let's do buy tickets. And let's do integer number of tickets and integer cost per ticket. So the other way around, ticket cost. Let's make sure we spell integer right as well. Oof. It's been that kind of day, what can I say? All right. So again, this function isn't going to return anything, so it can be type void. And in this case, make sure this, let's start this with an if. If viewer points is greater than or equal to the number of tickets times the ticket cost, then it'll actually run. If otherwise, it's not going to. I might do a little bit of magic wizardry for that. So what this is doing is taking the number of tickets. Like, let's say I want to buy 2 tickets at the cost of 2 points each. This would make sure that I had at least 4 points. And if I do have those points, viewer points minus this. I'm going to put these in parentheses too. That will make sure that this gets calculated before this tries to subtract it. Now, what I'm thinking is, for an else, so if else, if you're not familiar, if we'll check this condition, if this is true, it will run what's in these brackets. If this is not true, it's going to run what's in these brackets. So, in this case, let's see. So if, oh, this is a little tricky, okay. What I'd like this to do is that if someone tries to buy, like let's do another example here. Let's pull up Notepad again so I can type this out. Let's say there's a raffle, and you can buy 50 tickets at 2 points each. Now let's say I have 100 points. Let's put my name there so everybody knows that's me. All right. Now, let's say I buy let's say I buy 50 tickets. That means I would have 0 points left. Continue that, let's just say I buy 25 tickets, I would have 50 points left. Actually, and then let's expand this to 100. These two remain true, 150. Let's say I go to buy 150 tickets. I don't have 300 points. I have 100. So I would like this, ideally, to buy the maximum number of tickets that I have points for. Let's see if we can work through that logic. Also, I'm going to take a quick second here. Hello, everyone at Active's channel. I appreciate you joining. If you want to come over to Clutter of Cats, I'll be glad to talk to anybody and explain what I'm doing. And we're working on a Java Twitch bot. And right now, I'm working through some of the logic in buying tickets, which will obviously be a little more important later on. At the moment, it's just a fun experiment. All right, so I have 100 points, and I'm trying to buy 300 points worth of tickets. So, also, before I forget to mention it, thank you, Active, for hosting us. I can't believe I didn't say that first. Okay. So, how do we do this? So I have enough points to buy 50 tickets. So let's, how do we do this? We have 100 points. I guess what we do is we take the points and we divide by the cost of the tickets, which in this case is 2. That would equal 50 tickets. We just want to make sure that the 50 is a whole number. We don't want them coming out with 50.2 tickets or 50.5 tickets. Oh, actually, Now that I've said tickets a certain number of times, I realize I haven't set this to equal to anything. Viewer tickets equals num tickets. And that'll help us keep track of the fact that the person has actually bought tickets. Oh, Active is not feeling well. I hope you feel better, man. I really do. I hope you feel better, and I hope you can stream later, or if not later, tomorrow, because I know you had a rough morning. Sorry I didn't get a chance to really talk much. It's been a busy day. Okay, so this is what we're hoping for. This is the ideal condition. We want the person to have a number of tickets capable of purchasing, or no, I'm sorry, a number of points capable of purchasing the number of tickets that they've selected. Not always going to be the case. So that's what this else is for. We'll probably do a couple more instances just to make sure that we have the logic down. So if the viewer points is not greater than or equal to the number of tickets, viewer tickets, and this might have to be, this might end up being adjusted a little since this is an integer and this is not going to be an integer in all cases, equals viewer points divided by ticket cost. Okay. And then we're going to set viewer points equal to viewer points minus, oh, excuse me. In this case, we can actually kind of flip this a little bit. Let's copy this down here. Except instead of, in this case, instead of doing ticket cost times number of tickets, it's going to do ticket cost times viewer tickets. And this should represent the maximum number of tickets. And as I was just thinking about this, I did think of another example. So we're going to go back to this. So now we have it set up so this will go. So let's copy this and do another instance. There's a raffle. You can buy a maximum of 10 tickets. The tickets are 200 points each. This is not covered here. In fact, what's going to happen is my viewer points, which are 100, are not greater than the number of tickets, which I forgot to say. I'm going to try, let's say I try and buy, let's just do 5 tickets. So I'm trying to buy 1,000 points worth of tickets. Number of tickets is 5. Ticket cost is 200, so that's going to be the 1,000. I've only got 100 points, so this isn't going to work, and it's going to come down to here. So it's going to set my tickets equal to how many points I have divided by the ticket cost. In this case is 200, and it's going to get 0.5. It's going to try and set viewer tickets equal to 0.5. So, in this case, I think what we need to do is add an if and do viewer points is greater than or equal to the ticket cost. So what this will do is it'll make sure that the viewer has at least enough points to buy a single ticket. Hi, Bucks. It's good to see you again. Thanks for joining. So as long as the person has, or as long as the viewer has at least enough points to buy one ticket, this will go. And in that case, we should have another if. But this isn't going to do anything. I'm going to leave this one blank. And it's just to make sure that everything is covered. So, one more time, just to review the logic. If the viewer has more points than, or more or equal the points, then the number of the tickets times the cost. It runs this. If that doesn't work, it's going to come down to here, and it's going to make sure the viewer points are more than at least one ticket. And it's going to run this. And again, we're going to need to make sure that... Oh, I don't know how that extra character got in there. We're going to need to make sure that this ends up working, because I know we might have to do some rounding on this. No, I guess we wouldn't have to. I don't know. I'll look into this. We're going to play around with that once we get this all instantiated. And then this is how many tickets they buy, and then their points are changed according to how many tickets they bought, which are here, times the cost. And that should allow them to buy, let's do, in this case, that would be 0 tickets. Let's do one more example here. I've got 101 points. Tickets are 2 points each, and okay, this works. Okay, so tickets are 2 points each. I go to buy 100 tickets. Oops. That's 200 points worth of tickets. This logic here, yeah, this will still work. And what this will do is it'll take my points, the 100, divide it by the 2, or actually 101, divide it by 2, and return 50. Now, and as I did mention, there might be some rounding issues there, which I'm going to have to look into. If this came back with 50.9, it might round it up to 50, because this is an integer and this is going to be a double. But we'll worry about that in a minute when we actually get this instantiated and start playing around with it a little bit. And then, as I mentioned, else is going to be nothing. It's I don't really want it to do anything if it doesn't actually do what I want it to do. All right, I think this covers all of our basic functions for viewers. So we track the name, the points, and the tickets. We can instantiate it with those values here. We can get the name, we can get the points, we can get the tickets, we can add points, we can subtract points, and then we can buy tickets. I wonder if we might need like a refund tickets at some point, but for now this should be good. All right, so save that. Let's close our example here. Actually, let's leave this open. Just clear our example. All right, so we have Twitch Viewer, the name of our new class. Let's try compiling that. Oops. Oh, good old spelling errors. Oh, I didn't pass my points. Integer. There we go. New points. Incompatible type. Viewer points. I spell it wrong? No? What if I do 0.0? Aha, okay. Well, ticket cost. I'm being asked, where do I get the viewer points inside the function? Viewer points are a variable that's part of this class, so they should be available everywhere. So that's right. Oh, okay. So ticket cost is an integer. Viewer points is a double. So I'm trying to divide a double by an integer. And Java likes all the types to be the same. So I am going to have to get all of this right. I wonder if I can do this. Nuts. Get cost as an integer. Yep, spelled right. I think you can do $ this viewer points, but I believe since these are all in the same class and since these are private, they should be available to all of the functions within the class without an issue. I don't think you actually have to tell it this. It's possible you're right, though. I might have that a little wrong, and we might have to adjust it. But let's try it like this, because I think this is how I've been doing it up to now. I need to cast as a double. Let me look that up real quick. Let's try this. Okay. Cast integer to double in Java. Sorry for the quick break here. Need to convert an int to a double. Might be I can do this with just a lowercase. The capital D, yeah, it's still not liking that. The capital D double and the capital I integer are specific classes meant to override what's already there. Hello, Invasion G2. Thanks for joining. Yeah, it's always these little things. Like it's such a minor thing, you don't even really consider it until you get to it. And then you realize how silly a thing it is, and yet it's still such a weird thing. Double A. All these people are solving it by like converting it to a string, which seems unnecessary to me, but it's possible it's actually how you have to do it. Maybe I just need to see what the Java integer functions. Let's check out what those are. Let's see. Pull this over. Here we go. Double value. Okay. So, since this is... Let's try this then. Let's get rid of all that. Dot double value. Returns the value of this integer as a double. Okay. So, no. Let's viewer points is a double. Let's This was suggested in chat. Let's try that first to make sure this is in fact the issue and that it's not something else. Oh, right, I need to get rid of that. Okay, so the problem is something else. Viewer points, let's just make sure viewer points is a double. Oh, but ticket cost isn't a double, so it's looking for like types here. If I do, let's keep this the same. Double temp cost equals ticket cost. I just do that and then change this to temp cost. Viewer tickets. Maybe it's the fact that this is an integer here. It's probably what it is. So I think I can do math.round, right? That? Temp cost is double. Viewer points is double. To make sure I spelled it right, because it's been that kind of day. Yeah, all right. Tell you what, start debugging this. Let's get rid of that. See if it compiles without it. Aha! That was not entirely that's fault. Okay, so in this case, we need to, I wonder if I can do this. Double. Hey, cool. Double to long bits, compare byte value, float value, int value. Here we go. So, instead of math.round, we're going to do viewer points dot, what was it called? Int value. Int value. Let's try that. Aha, that's what it was. Okay. So apparently you can't force that. So, all right, so we've got the basic idea what we need here. But let's do this. Minus temp cost. I do that? So what if I do that? Please, 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 please. Ah, nuts. Oh wait, I didn't even want it to be that. Maybe I just need to take the extra step here. Instead of this, I mean, ticket cost is now already a double. Seems a little unnecessary to me, but let's try this. There it is. Okay. So, let's change this back to an integer, because we don't want people buying 0.2 tickets or 0.5 tickets. Let's change that back to an integer. Let's set, how did that go again? Okay, double value. Let's put this to double value. Man, my fingers are failing me today. All right, there we go, double value. Compile that. Hey, okay. All right. Got our nice little jobber there. Let's go back to our main. This is all... Let's comment that out. That was all test stuff. I kind of have a bunch of stuff here that's temporary that I'm using to get everything set up properly, but it isn't there just yet. So, all right, what's our new class called? Twitch viewer. All right. We're gonna make a new Twitch viewer. Someone might have just followed. If you did, I thank you. Reset things for some reason. I don't know why it does that. But, all right, it's back now for me. All right, we're going to make a new Twitch viewer. Let's call them TV. Let's just call them temp TV. TV for Twitch viewer. Equals to new Twitch viewer. And here's where we're going to put Dagenham. We're going to start me off with 0 points. 0.0, let's do that. And then 0 ticket spot. Copy that. All right. Let's paste this a couple times. So we're going to do Cigna, and then I'm going to use the channel name here. All right, so Cigna's going to start off with 6 points. Actually, let's pick a better number so you can see it. 5 points, and let's make Clutter of Cats a little weird. We're going to do 12.3. Okay, so that should instantiate 3 viewers. Oops. Let's put D, C, and COC. Okay. So, system.out.println tmp tvd.getName. Let's make sure we have the name. Let's copy that. Paste, paste, paste. Get points. And get tickets. So, this should instantiate 3 new Twitch viewers under 3 different names, and then this should print out the 3 basic variables of Dagenham. So, let's compile it. No syntax errors. It's always a good sign. Now, let's run it. There it is. Got my name, got everything. So, we're going to continue just printing things out to make sure we've got this right. Let's change this to Cigna's variable. And then we're going to do it again. Let's give it some nice spacing there. With Clutter of Cats variable. Pilot. Run it. Dagenham has 0 points, Cigna has 5 points, and Clutter of Cats has 12.3 points. Perfect. Hey, Literally Grizzly Bear, thanks for joining us. I am Dagenham, in case you didn't know. Cigna's on the couch. If she feels like saying hi. So, good. So, our constructor's working, and it's working properly. It's taking all of the points, which we will work on getting from a file into the program at some point, and it's getting them into the variables correctly. And the other benefit here is that our get functions are all working. Okay, so I'm going to ramp up the points on some of these. I'm going to give Dagenham 50, Cigna's going to get 150, and clutter of cats is going to get 1200. So now that we know these are working, I'm going to add some functions in between that. And we're going to see, we're going to make sure that they work. Hi, Tom Peach HD. Thanks for joining. And thanks for following. If you have any questions, guys, too, feel free to ask me. I'm walking through this as basically as I can. I'm trying to explain everything I'm doing. If you do have any questions about what I'm doing, or if you want to see me do something in particular or walk through another part that I might have passed, I can. I'm also making sure to save all of these. They are currently in my past broadcasts. I'm going to be moving them to our YouTube channel if you want to check them out there. So they should be available. Okay, so I want to keep this, but I want to check out these functions too. Gimme. All right, there we go. Okay, so we need to check out add points, subtract points, and buy tickets. Invasion G2. Am I writing this for active? Not specifically. If he wants to use it when it's done, and if it works properly, unfortunately, I do feel I have to make sure I say that. And if he wants to use it, that he is more than welcome to. I will absolutely help him use it. And if he has any things he wants added to it, I will gladly add them for him. But not specifically. This is really the overall plan is to build this, get it to a functioning state, and then unleash it on the world, I suppose. It's not, I don't know if that's an actual accurate thing to say, but I want this to be available to anybody who wants it. And I want this to be as accessible and as complete as we can make it. So if there are features people want added, I'll add them. I'll add them on stream. Somebody needs them quickly. I'll bug fix. I plan on maintaining this. This is it's meant to be a short-term / long-term project. So, and the reason I'm doing it on stream is to help out people. I know programming can be a really hard thing to get into, and I'm hoping to help people get into it and help explain how I do these things, which hopefully helps other people get into this as well, and then they can share their love of programming with the world as well. So, anyway, sounds like that answered your question. If you do have any questions about this in particular or Java as a whole, let me know. Active just said all the other bots are crap and I want to make a good one. I don't know that this is going to be a good one. I'm not going to promise that. It's entirely possible that we'll get to the end, and because it's in Java, it eats up too many resources. We're going to have to take that as it comes. I'm going to try and keep track of that as we go and maintain as low a profile or as low a footprint as possible. But it's entirely possible that this is just not, unfortunately, not feasible. Like, this might not be a good language for it. I'm hoping it is. I really am. And I'm going to keep going with it. We're going to, even if it's not a good language for it, even if it doesn't work, we're going to go the whole way. Or I'm going to go the whole way. I'm hoping people join. We're going to go the whole way. We're going to get it to the point where we would say, this is what it would be. It doesn't work right, but this is where it is. So, yeah, I'm hoping. I'm hoping it works. I'm hoping I can give this to people. Yeah, I don't have any other way to say that. So, let's try the basic version of our three functions that we created that aren't just get. We have add points, subtract points, and buy tickets. Now, we're going to make Signa, she's going to be a really good viewer. And she, right, add points, that should take a double. Yep. She's been watching for an additional 12 minutes. So she gets 12 points. Because I'm probably going to be using 1 point per minute on mine once this gets a little further. And then we're going to do Dagenham, subtract points. He's not such a good viewer, and he loses 5 points. So I got asked the question, why make it in Java? Perl and Python are good for bots. I don't doubt that. I happened to find a I found a library called PircBot, P-I-R-C, that allows you to connect to an IRC host. And I found that for Java. If I had found that for C++, I'd be writing it in that. It just happened to be the first one I found. And I wanted to relearn Java anyway, so it was really kind of beneficial for me. Like, it all kind of lined up. So that's why I'm using Java. I don't know whether or not it's going to be a problem in terms of footprint. If it really is, and if I really want to rewrite it in another language, I will. I could do like Flash says, or Flash. Is it Flash A? Flash, or just Flash? Apologize if I'm butchering your name. If I really want to rewrite the project when we get to the end and it's not very good, I will. I'm not positive if I'm going to want to or not. I might want to move on to something else, which I'm open to suggestions for. We might do like an app or something like that. But I'm hoping Java's good enough for this. That's really what it is. And oh, Flash E. Oh, okay. I apologize. That's good. Anyway, so I'm hoping this is right, and if not, at least I'm learning Java off of it. So you got to kind of take the good with the bad. Java's a good language to learn. It's basic, and yet it's got enough complexity to it that it teaches you some of the larger scope of things. Like, you won't be learning how to write operating systems in it, but you can do almost anything with it. You can write files, read files, you can connect to SQL, all sorts of things. So, okay, so three basic versions of our functions: add points, subtract points, and then clutter of cats is going to join its own raffle by tickets. What does this take? This takes number of tickets and ticket cost, both of which are integers. So it's going to buy one ticket at 5 points. Oh, subtract points. Methods subtract points cannot be applied to given types. Did I do this wrong? I'm a dummy. All right. Well, yeah, let's just double. So viewer points equals viewer points minus new points. Viewer points is less than 0. Set it to 0. Okay. Yeah, that was my mistake. I got caught up. So let's recompile that. And let's try compiling this again. There we go. No syntax errors. Close these out. Clear this. And run this. All right, let me pull these points up. All right, so Cygnus started with 150. I added 12, 162. Perfect. Dagenham lost 5 points. He started at 50, 45. Perfect. Clutter of Cats started with 1200.3 and bought one 5-point ticket, 1195. That is perfect. Okay. Now, let's play with the tickets a little bit to see how our logic works. And if that's working, then, well, once it's working, we'll probably call it a night for tonight. Let's see. You know what? Let's just get rid of that. The add and subtract worked, so let's get rid of those and just change them over to buy tickets. So Dagon the goofball is going to buy 100 tickets, 5 points each. He only has 50 points. He's trying to buy 500 points worth of tickets. Cygna is going to buy, she's got 162, or no, she's got 150. Let's make sure. She's going to buy 3 tickets at 50 each. And then let's say Clutter of Cats is going to try and buy 1 ticket at 1,500 points. which is more than it has. It's only got 1,200 points. All right, save, compile, no errors. Let's run that. All right. 1 ticket. Well, that's not right. All right, Dagenham's logic didn't work. Cygna's logic didn't work, and Clutter of Cats did. Oh, man. All right, let's debug this real quick. Oop, that's not the right one. There it is. So it looks like... Here it is. It looks like I set up where it buys the tickets incorrectly, because Dagon should have ended up with 10 tickets, not 1 ticket, and Cygna should have ended up with 3 tickets, not 30. So I've got my math wrong. Number of tickets times tickets cost. This should have fired for her, because it was 3 times 50, and that should be 150. Whereas Clutter of... Okay, so Clutter of Cats looks like it worked, because no points were subtracted, and no tickets were purchased. So why did she get 30? Number of tickets. All right, this should be fun. I'm going to start debugging this just so we can knock this out as fast as possible. We're going to just print out num tickets, and we're going to print out ticket cost. And then, just to make sure that nothing funky's going on, we're going to print it out again here. We're going to run that. I mean, that should be fine. Oh, you know what? I'm also going to print out I'm going to print out a 1. Let's do if1. This will tell me which section it's running and which order it's running in to make sure that each of these is firing correctly. Oh, let's also do this. All right, save it, compile it, close it. Let's clear this. Let's close that again. Compile it, run it. Okay, so let's trace it. All right, so it received 105, which is good. That's what I wanted it to do. I'll tab a lot in this one. But anyway, it received the 105, which are here. And then it goes to the second if, which is here. And then it prints out the 105 again, which is good. All right, so that's viewer tickets equals. So this is probably not working right. I'll take a look at that in a minute. So then we have 3 and 50, which is here. Just said, where's the if? Or no, oh, I went down too far. All right. 10 and 5, if2, 10 and 5. Okay. That's Dagenham's right there. Then we start on Cygnus, which is 3 and 50. Oh, okay, it went into if 2 again. Oh, this is probably because doubles as a variable are a little tricky. They aren't always exactly the value that you think they should be. So viewer points in this case for Cygna is 150.0. And that's not coming across as equal to this. So what I might do is flip it. It's still the same thing, though. I mean, it's technically equal. So, all right. So she's bought three tickets for 50 each, or is it 50? But 3 tickets at 50 each, which is the 150 that she has. So this isn't firing correctly. So now we know why that's not working. And then the 3 and 50, if 2, 3 and 50. Let's bring it out here again. That's the second 3 and 50. And then it goes to 1 and 1500. Then it goes to if 3. Okay, so that one is working. So this if 2 isn't functioning the way I'm expecting it to. So what I'm going to do is add in this and check out what the temp cost is going to. And then I'm going to check, oops. And then I'm going to check out what viewer tickets is going to. File and what? Just do that again. Please back up. Trace it back through. Okay. 105 for Dagenham. It goes into 2. Good. Tickets are still 105. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out because these two are firing correctly. 105. So it's taking my points. Oh. Okay. It's after 7, so I'm gonna, which I've been flagged down. I do want to finish this to go. So I hope you can all stick around for another few minutes while I get this to work. If this takes more than a handful of minutes, though, I'm probably gonna just finish this on the next stream, which would be on Saturday. So okay. So viewer points should be 50. The ticket cost was 5. That should be 6. Why isn't that 6? Viewer points should be 50. It costs double value. I think I have to print that out too. All right, well, for some reason it's dividing 50 by 5. Cost of 5, yeah. Coming up with 30. So I'm asked, am I sure the previous values aren't carrying over? That's why I'm printing them out like this, and they don't seem to be. No, I did just have, I had this here, and I guess I'll leave it here. And then actually after this, I'm going to just print out a blank line, just to help show. So I'm going to print that out too. Oops. run all this out. File that. Close. File. Oh, no, before I do that, clear that so we can make sure. Seeing it. Okay. So we're getting 100 tickets at 5 points each. It's coming into 2. It is still 105. And then it says this is 5. Well, maybe the viewer points you're saying are carrying over. I didn't even think to print those out. Let's do this again. File. I forgot to clear it. Clear it. Go. Okay. Oh, look at that. Am I running this on the right person? I'm running it on the wrong person. Oh man, I have a case of the dumbs. Okay. I'm not running this on Dagenham, I'm running this on Cigna. Okay. Let's recap. Cigna, in this case, is trying to buy 100 tickets at 5 points each. He only has 150 points, so that means she should buy 30. Dagenham is trying to buy... Everybody laugh at me, it's okay. I can't believe I did that. Dagenham is trying to buy 3 tickets at 50 points each. He only has 50 points. So, he should have 1 ticket at 50 points. She should have 30 tickets at 2 points. And Clutter of Cats should have no tickets. Okay, so... all of that, and it's actually working right. Okay. So that works. If you're trying to buy more tickets than you have points for, it buys the maximum number of points worth of tickets that you can buy. And let's do one more test here. Let's do where I have Dagen has 51. Just to make sure. Excuse me. Perfect. He bought a ticket at 50 points each. He bought 1 ticket at 50 points each and has 1 point left over. Perfect. Okay. So, in this case, we're going to swap this around. We're going to have Clutter of Cats buy 1 ticket at 100 points each. Actually, let's do 12, and just to make sure that this is functioning, let's set that to 0. So, Clutter of Cats is going to try and buy 1 ticket, 12 tickets at 100 points each, which should be exactly the number of points they have. Pile. Oh. Look at this. Probably build something in that clears that for me, but... okay. Clutter of Cats bought 12 tickets. Alright, so here's our results. Dagenham with 51 tickets was able to buy 1 ticket with 1 point left over. Cigna with 150 points was able to buy 30 tickets instead of the 100 she requested with no points left over. And Clutter of Cats was able to buy 12 tickets at 100 points each, which is exactly how many points they have. Let's do one more quick little test here. I already did that. Clear. Run it again. Oh my. Okay, that's kind of what I expected to see there. So just to demonstrate that real quick, and then we'll get going for the night. This is a double value. Doubles are not 100% accurate. They aren't always going to be exactly what you think they should be. They will always be off by a little bit. Now, if you look, this is an incredibly small number here. And how many zeros is that even? I'm kind of curious. Here's 5. And it has 12 zeros. So it's one of those things where it's technically correct, but it's not totally correct. And it's because double is not 100% correct. You have to use greater than, less than, and equals to. So I'm going to have to take a look at this. There might be some way to force it to like a 4 decimal accuracy or something like that, which should make this impossible. I'll look up that on my own time. You can't even see that because my camera's in the way. Let me turn off my camera for a second here so you can take a look at that. So right here, that's what happens with doubles. You can see it still has the 0.4, which is how many points would be left over. Check out that. But then, because double is not storing it exactly as 0.4, it stores it as kind of like an about 0.4. In fact, let's do this. So we have 9095 as the last 4 characters. Let's run it again and just see what it comes up with this time. 9095. All right, so one more. 9095. So in this case, it's going to always be that. We can work around that. It's really not that big a deal. But yeah, doubles. Don't ever expect doubles to be exactly what you think they should be, because they'll trick you. My camera back. Okay, so next stream, we're going to look into doing some work on the doubles to try and make sure they maintain a level of accuracy. Because in the long run, it's probably irrelevant, but I'd rather it actually held 2 or 3 digits worth of significance. Not, what was that? That's about 17, I guess. Because there were 12 zeros. Not that many, regardless. So let's take a look into trying to keep track of that, because I don't want that to get out of hand. Again, probably not a big difference either way. I might just leave it too. Out of simplicity, for simplicity's sake, I might. No promises. Might take a look at that. We will. Let's see, what else can we do? We're gonna get the actual viewer list in the bot to start functioning, because I want it to be able to track people as they come in and out and leave the room, and then we can actually start adding points to them. And that's going to be done with a vector. So we're going to cover vectors, and probably going to start pulling the user list. So we will actually see Dagonbot return to the channel triumphantly, hopefully, and start grabbing the user list, and at least the initial user list, and then dumping that into this the vector of Twitch viewers. And then we can start doing things on that. Horrible things. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, been a good start today. Been a good return to the stream, even though I missed 2, which again I apologize for. But I'm going to shoot for Saturday, 3 p.m. That's what I'm going to try and do. My primary schedule is going to be Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Excuse me. And 3 p.m. Saturday, Eastern Standard Time. Saturdays might get canceled relatively regularly. I do apologize if they do. I will keep our Twitter as updated as possible. I'll try and tweet before I come on, or if I can't make it on for some reason, I'll tweet that too. Same thing with Mondays and Wednesdays. I will always try to tweet before I come on, or if I'm not making it. Our previous broadcasts are, at the moment, all available in the channel's past broadcast section. I'm in the process of moving them over to Google. I am incredibly slow with that. I am sorry for that, too. I will get better at this, I promise. But if you want to watch the previous episodes, I go through how I got to this. There's even some file reading and writing. There's using PerkBot to connect to a channel. All sorts of little things like that. We're going to start combining all this stuff now. We're getting all the basics done. Still a lot left to do, obviously, but the foundation is really coming together. So, all of that said, thank you for joining. Thanks for showing up today. Thanks for following us on all of our different social medias. And I will see you all later.